Oh, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with this video here. I'm going to be showing you whether or not ethanol fuel is better for fuel mileage or the same as non-ethanol, or worse, I should say, even. So here I have my 2005 Suburban, and she's a big tank. Some of you guys have seen my videos, so it's a Suburban, big one. And the average economy, if I can get in there, if you can see this, oh, that's why I'm not driving it, 17.3 miles to the gallon. Most people who drive these things will probably say that you're lucky to get 13, 14 miles a gallon. But like I said, those people use ethanol fuel. I don't. So today, I'm going to show you with my 2009 Equinox, which if you look at the stickers on there, it will say highway mileage 19, average 17 or something like that. So when I first got an Equinox years ago, it was a 2007. It was just front wheel drive. And some of the body parts, if you've been following, are actually on here. The hood, the fenders, the front bumper cover, the headlights, all that front section, and even like the radiator condenser and everything from that white one are on here. The white one is now gone, but the vehicle lives on. So these vehicles here tend to get about 17, 18, 19 miles a gallon if you use ethanol fuel. So this morning I filled up, I reset the fuel mileage, and I just want to show you on here, zoom in here. Oh, I got a tire that's bad apparently, or a sensor. On the way home, 28.4 miles a gallon. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I've got to go to the dentist today. So I'm going to record my trip and then post this up. Hang on while I buckle my seatbelt here. Safety first, people. So, alright. So you can see I got a full tank of gas, and it's fairly warm out. I haven't driven this since this morning. It's been about 3 hours, but as you can see, there's no check engine lights or anything on. And just so you can see, that is my insurance, Progressive Insurance. And no, I'm not being sponsored by Progressive or anything. But that just kind of monitors my driving. Most people that drive know what that's about. So I've never put any add-ons to the vehicle. There, same spark plugs that were on this vehicle, same wires, same everything. The only things that are different in this vehicle is that the bumper on my white Equinox had fog lights, and this vehicle originally did not come with fog lights. And so when I swapped that all over, I had to swap out that wiring harness, which has nothing to do with the engine or anything. So as you can see, I'm already dropping down to 27.6, but we're going to reset that and then we're going to go. And now I live on top of a hill, and the town is at the bottom of the hill, and the only way out is to go to the bottom of the hill and then go back up. So you're going to see the mileage go up, and then it's going to come back down, and then it's going to go back up, and it's going to level off. I got about a 25 to 30 minute trip. So I'm probably going to pause this a couple of times while I'm driving. try not to get into an accident. So anyways, okay, we're gonna reset this to 0. You can see it's at 0, and so we're off. Oh, and I can go ahead and there's my range. So 207,860 miles. That way you can see that this trip is documented by mileage. So it's about a 25 or so mile trip. So right. Coasting down the hill now. Let me roll the windows up. So it's a fairly warm day today. See, we're already up 22 miles to the gallon, 23, but like I said, I'm going downhill and got a stop sign here. And now we're on the highway. So as I accelerate to go up this hill, you can see it dropping down. Up the hill. And then there's one other major downhill, uphill before I get to the next town. Or I shouldn't say the next town, I should say the destination, because I got to go through a small little town on the way. So I'm still going up the hill. You can see doing about 60. And these equinoxes I've discovered over the years, because I've had ones for several years. The average, the best economy is approximately 62-ish, 63, 64 miles an hour. So now we're just cresting the hill here. So now remember, 17 miles to the gallon is what we normally average with ethanol fuel. And I'm not really trying to knock ethanol fuel. It has its uses, but another thing I failed to mention is that my Suburban is a flex fuel vehicle. So all those people out there that'll sit there and tell you, oh, flex fuel, you have to put in the ethanol and everything. No, you don't. You do not have to do that. To see, but I'm already up to 16 miles per gallon, and we're climbing. I'm doing about 60 miles an hour. I'm gonna average. I usually average about 60, 61 miles when I drive. Like I said, that's when I normally get the best fuel mileage. So now we're up to 17 miles to the gallon. and we're still climbing, and I'm still driving down the road at about 60 miles an hour. So, and we're coming up to a stop sign. So now you're really going to see a jump because I'm slowing down. But when I accelerate, you're going to see it drop back down again. So it's going to average out. Turn the corner here. Town and where we're going. And I don't use cruise control, and one of the biggest reasons why I don't use cruise control is because that way it helps me keep an eye on things, I don't know, I just feel that sometimes when you use cruise control, you don't always pay attention to what's going on around you. So with using cruise control, and to me, just helps me pay more attention to like the speedometer, the fuel the fuel gauge, temperature gauge, my surroundings, especially like this time of the year. You got motorcycles, you got deer. Well, you always got deer out and about, because that's how I ended up with this vehicle, because with my white one I hit a deer with it and I replaced the whole front end, and then I went to have some work done at the shop, and the rear axle suspension rusted off and broke up into the body, and no matter what, I couldn't fix it. So it was time to say goodbye to that one, and I was lucky to find this one here that had been in a small low-speed car accident. If you have seen some of my older videos, you know that I've been fixing this up, and today is June 28th, and my son finally got it all painted and ready to go just a couple days after my birthday, which was June 20th. So here we are, back to 60 miles an hour, and we're at 19.5 miles to the gallon. So I didn't put any ethanol fuel in. I don't ever put ethanol fuel in. Like I said, with ethanol fuel, you only get about maybe 19 miles to the gallon with one of these vehicles. Anybody who owns, I think it's 2005 to 2009 Equinox with the V6 in it, knows that you only get about 17 miles to the gallon with it. It really doesn't matter what kind of non-ethanol fuel you put in. I used to be 100% 91 octane, but today I filled up with the 88, or was it 88 or 87, somewhere right around there. I think it was 88. As you can see, even with the 91 octane, which you pay a lot more for, I was only getting 28 miles to the gallon on the average. With the 88, you save a little bit of money per gallon when you buy it. And then also the other thing you need, if you want to do this with your vehicle, what I suggest is you figure out how much you pay per gallon, and then divide that into your mileage per gallon if you have one of these in your vehicle. And then it'll tell you how much money you pay per mile is what that will do. And then put the non-ethanol fuel in if you're using ethanol fuel. Empty your tank as far as you can go, and then fill it up with the non-ethanol, and then write the price down, and then after you get done, do the division again with the fuel per gallon, per mileage per gallon, and that will give you your cost per mile. And unless you're paying like $4 or more for the non-ethanol, and it depends on the vehicle and how many miles difference there is, but I've done the math, and I can pay up to a little over $4 a gallon and still come out ahead with the non-ethanol. So in a roundabout way, in the Bible it says basically a fool and their money are soon parted. And if you listen to mainstream media and all the propaganda about fuel and vehicles and stuff like that, and you got ethanol's better for the environment, not if it's burning more gallon per miles. Your vehicle has a catalytic converter on it. If it was created as early as 1974 or 5, I think it was. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on that part, but the catalytic converter, you can look it up and check my thing. So okay, now we're going back up a hill. We just went down a hill, so see the mileage dropping again, but we went up over 24 miles a gallon. I also caught up to a vehicle in front of me which is only doing 55 miles an hour, so keep me in line, I guess, right? So anyways, you can look it up, what a catalytic converter does. And basically what it does is it turns your vehicle's exhaust into non-harmful fumes. That's why your exhaust pipe, after your catalytic converter, will normally rust off, your muffler and all that, because it converts it into H2O and some other forms, and that is good for the environment. So don't let people sit there and try to tell you that, oh, you're not doing your part by driving a vehicle with non-ethanol fuel in it, because that's total BS. Now, if your check engine light is on, 9 times out of 10, if the vehicle's running right, it's probably your gas cap is loose and allowing air into the system. They do a vacuum thing on your fuel system. That way it can, I don't know how many pounds it is, like 5 pounds of pressure or something like that. So if your gas cap is loose or the seal is bad on it, it'll send you a check engine light. I used to be a mechanic, so I do know a few things. The other thing is that a lot of times it's your O2 sensor, and if you're driving around with your check engine light on and you're gonna criticize someone like me who there's just a tire alarm over here, there's no check engine lights on whatsoever, then you're a hypocrite. So okay, we're on top of the hill, we're going, I got a couple little small dips here, so I'm going to predict that I'm going to be about close to, if not over 25 miles a gallon when we get to our final destination. So vehicle in front of me is going slow, so we're just about coming into town. We got one more little hill and then we're pretty much gonna be able to coast. I might be up to 26 miles a gallon when I get to my final destination here, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Basically, I had a discussion about 8 years ago with some people about it, and they sat there and told me, and I used to believe what car companies and people who were quote experts on the subject of cars and fuel economy and all that stuff. I used to believe all that hype and everything. And I was talking to somebody, and actually quite a few people, and they started telling me that if you put non-ethanol fuel in, you get better fuel mileage. I'm like, what? You're crazy. And they convinced me to try it, so I did, and I was convinced after I did it myself. So other things too that they talk about is your ethanol fuel. It can do some harm to your engine too. It leaves deposits and stuff in your fuel tank. So like when you start switching over, boy, I hope you guys followed me all the way to the end of this, because this is really big. If you start swapping over to ethanol or to non-ethanol fuel after driving a vehicle for 5, 6, 10, how many ever years you've been driving your vehicle, with ethanol fuel in it, there's going to be junk and crap in the bottom of that tank because ethanol fuel has stuff in it. And you have a fuel filter in line that protects the engine from any kind of crap that might be going through it. Now, when you put the non-ethanol in, that's going to actually clean out your fuel tank, and that stuff that's in there is going to go into your fuel filter. And then all of a sudden you're going to be, oh, my car's starting to run like crap. Well, if you're not mechanically inclined, then I suggest take it to a dealership. Otherwise, if you know how to do all that stuff, fuel filters are really not hard to replace, swap out. All you need are, and they're called line wrenches, and they are not normal looking wrenches. They actually have was it 5 points, I think, in it, because they kind of come around. They have a cut big enough to fit over a line, and then they fit over the nut. You can't just slide it up over the nut like most normal wrenches and stuff. So if you are a mechanic, you know exactly what a line wrench is. Some people, even mechanically inclined, know that kind of stuff too, because like I said, a fool and their money are soon parted. If you don't know how to fix things, I suggest you learn, because you can save yourself a lot of money. Because paying $100 or $200 shop fees